Like we have a whole year's worth of attendance in one day. This is awesome. I'd like to call this evening's Kings Local Schools Board of Education meeting to order. Mr. Morrow, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Phillips,
Here.
Ms. Groff,
Here.
Ms. Cowan,
Here.
Mr. Skrull,
Here.
Mr. Belfrom.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda?
I will make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom.
Yes. Next on the agenda are the reports and presentations for this evening. We have a lot of young people to celebrate tonight, so I will hand it over to Mr. Sears.
Yes, President from Board of Education, thank you for the opportunity this evening and for those of you that took the time out of your evening to allow us the opportunity to celebrate some of the many amazing accomplishments our students have participated in and accomplished over the last few months. So this is always a fun time for us. We try to recognize a lot of our students who participated at the state and national level. And we're going to have some exemplary examples of that tonight. So we're super excited about this. So the students, what we're going to do is we're going to recognize you and your team. I'm going to read a few accomplishments and then we will call the students forward. Mr. Taylor, when we get to the athletic piece, will be at the podium. He will hand you a certificate. You will then walk up here, shake each one of the board members' hands, and then we will pause after your group and we will take a team photo with the Board of Education. And that's kind of the rhythm of the work tonight. So thank you all for being here. And it's just a great time for us to celebrate each one of you. As we get started, I will start with our put my glass here, Ohio Governor's Youth Art Exhibition. I will allow you to, the board, if you want to move up. Our first group is not here this evening, but I'm going to read about them as you get set up. The first group is our Ohio Governor's Art Youth Exhibition. Approximately 1,500 artworks from across the state were selected to enter the state judging. State jurors then selected 319 pieces for exhibition, with 25 of the 319 chosen to receive the Governor's Award of Excellence. Kiera McCoy was one of those, placing in the top 25. Allison Peck and Eleanor Flinders were selected as state exhibition winners out of the 319. Unfortunately, these folks were unable to attend tonight's recognition, but we do have a photo of them on the screen. Some tremendous accomplishments from art exhibition. Thank you, board. And we'd also like to recognize our art teachers at Kings High School, Angie Guilfoyle, Carrie Cook, and Stacy Hoffert. Our next group we would like to recognize are students that participated in the Ohio Business Professionals of America competition. 12 Kings High School students recently competed at the 2024 Business Professionals of America State Leadership Conference in Columbus, Ohio. 7 of those students placed in the top 10 in the state. One student, Kiera McCoy, placed second in the state in digital media production, which qualifies her for the national competition in Chicago in May 10th through the 14th. We would like to recognize all of our state qualifiers this evening. So we would ask that you come forward. Martin, will you, yes, I think these should be in order. We will allow Miss Martin, our assistant superintendent, to hand out the awards. The first is Kiera McCoy. I do not believe she's here this evening. Austin Staubitz. Michael, yes. Michael Barger. I will read through all of these students. We'll do one round of applause at the end. How about that? Levi Miller, Parker Wind, Hannah Cook. Go on, Hannah. Yes. There we go, Hannah. We'll give you a round of applause. Nora Spellick, Charlie Reeder, Mia McIntosh, Ian Lynch. Good job, Ian. Franklin Dominguez Davis, and Ethan Livingston. So congratulations to those students. Also, come on, Staubitz. Come on, Austin. Thank you, Mr. Meisner. Work, Austin. That's awesome. Okay, our next group, we had a tremendous winter season with our Kings High School swimming team. Mr. Eric Taylor, our athletic director, is here to hand out the awards. We had 12 Kings High School swimmers qualified for the OHSAA state swim meet. During that competition, we brought home 2 state championships in individual events. Our first state champion, senior Faith Rudowski, she claimed the state championship in the 100 freestyle. Faith, you come on up. Yes. Faith also placed 4th in the state in the 50 freestyle. Next state champion is sophomore Maya Schweikert. She took the state championship in the 100 backstroke. Both of these girls were also part of the 200 medley relay and the 400 freestyle relay, which placed 4th overall. Tremendous accomplishment. Individual state championships in Division I in Ohio are incredibly hard to come by. Congratulations to both of these individuals. We also there were state swimmers competed in 13 events in the finals of this year's championship. The Kings girls state team finished 7th overall, and the men finished 15th overall in the entire state. Congratulations. The men's team was also named ECC champions earlier this season. Additionally, the girls 200 medley relay and the 400 freestyle relay were all 4th in the state as well. Let's recognize our state qualifiers. When you call your name, come on up and join this group. Ashley Bender. Yes. Samantha Crum. Katie Gibson. Will Ballard. Seth Broderick. Or Kukavecki. Ethan Hoyne. Ethan Leamer. Diego Medina. And Cooper Tinsley. I'd also like to congratulate coaches, Mr. Sam Meisner and Mrs. Lindsay Six. You can come up also and join this group. two other groups that we want to recognize tonight. The next is our Kings High School competition cheerleaders. Our Kings Knights cheerleaders competition team competed at the UCA Cheer Nationals at ESPN Wide World of Sports in Orlando, Florida earlier this year. Actually, a few weeks ago. The competition team earned 8th in the nation for their game day performance. Yes. This is the highest finish in school history. The team also competed in the traditional category where they had their best traditional performance of the year, receiving 0 deductions during that performance. Congratulations to these young women on their hard work paying off. Congratulations goes to the following students. When you hear your name, come on up. Adeline Alst, Annika Kleinhans, Aubrey Mason, Claudia Witter, Faithlyn Herthel, Chloe Rivera, Macy Bryant, Olivia Allen, Olivia Johnson, Riley Tudor, Shay Penaveria, and Taylor Shaw. And I'd like to congratulate our coaches, Aubrey Gregor, Maggie Eason, and head coach SJ Slater. Congratulations. Yeah, so they're
You guys are probably good at this, right? You must get information, right? I mean, look at how great that picture is. It's kind of like that. Nope, I think I got it. There, I'm just a little bit more for me. There we go. Okay. I know, that's right. 1, 2, 3. You know, I think this is the first rodeo. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And our last group this evening is our Kings dance team. Congratulations to the Kings High School dance team who was crowned 2024 state champions in the small school varsity game day. This is the first state champion dance team in school history. The team also traveled to National Dance Association's Nationals in Orlando, Florida, where they competed in 3 events. Congratulations goes to Harper Kane. Yep. Maddie Hune. Anya Metzger. Kennedy Miller. Alexis Sanchez Vasquez. Scarlett McCormick. Cece Stalker. Mackenzie Stalker. Abby Slider. Jordan Stalbitz. Sophia Thomas. And Maria Tormos. And congratulations to our coaches, Gabrielle Holland and Mandy Antonzak. Congratulations, state champion Kings dance team. Oh, nice. Yeah, You're pros.
They take a good picture. All right, come on in here. Sit down. That's right. All right. Stay. Great. Thank you. Okay. Then I'll come a little forward in front of John. Then there you go. Then have Eric go right there. Perfect. Okay. And you smile. Congratulations, they can.
Yes. Students, before you, we're going to afford our Board of Education to make any comments. President Belfram would like to say a few things here before you exit.
Just put me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
No, I would just say that it is. These are the really enjoyable meetings. Not that they're not all enjoyable. That didn't come out right, but to celebrate all of you, all the hard work, to see all these parents and coaches, and all of the wonderful things that you're doing, inside and outside the classroom, representing Kings. This is really. I think I speak for the five of us. This is one of those things that really makes this all worth it. To see you all balance, your academic work with what it takes to do what you're doing, and to do it with excellence. Coaches, all of you, I know who teach as well. The time you take from maybe another job to come here and put this time and effort in with them and see them excel. Parents, all the support that you give your children. It's really an honor to come to meetings like this and to celebrate all of you. I'm going to tell, the cheerleaders and the dance team, stick your chest out a little bit. You all are, these blank faces. You're like state and national champs. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And yeah, I would also say, specific to all of you, the support that you get from the community to come out. I love that our crowd, actually stays at halftime to watch you guys perform, and support you. Mr. Meisner had me come to my first swim meet last year, and I had never been to one, and I was just absolutely stunned by how much time you spend in the water. Just ridiculous. But no, I'll let my colleagues speak too, but I'm really proud of all of you and what you're doing, and you should really be proud of yourselves. Your parents have probably told you that this is a big deal, and that's why they made you come tonight. And they're right. So keep listening to them and appreciate what you've done, because it's a big deal. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing and taking those opportunities and running with them and doing what you've done.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much left
Oh,
to say. You covered it all, but great job. I mean, quite an accomplishment. Be proud of what you've done and just embrace it. You've got your individual accomplishments, but more as a team, what you've accomplished is just great. And carry that with you as you continue in high school and on past.
As Mr. Belfram said, nights like this is what it's all about for us. It's just such a joy to see all of your smiling faces and hear about your accomplishments. Thank you to the students for your commitment and your hard work, and thank you to the parents and your families for all the support that they give you. Just job well done, and we're really proud of you, and congratulations.
Yeah.
I'll just ditto everything they said, but so proud of you.
Besides being proud of being a knight and seeing everyone here this evening, it's quite an honor. And then also parents. I don't know if you realize it, because the kids had their back to you when they came up. Every single person looked me in the eye, shook my hand, and responded to something I said. It was either a bigger smile or a thank you or whatever. And I thought, that's leadership. That's what
Absolutely.
we hope to accomplish with all of the students here at King's. So, and they all succeeded here tonight. Well done.
Well done.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure.
Do the rest. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
so we have one more thing to celebrate just for this month of March. And if I may, I'll just read this quick resolution. Whereas for more than 30 years, March has been officially designated by the National Association for Music Education as Music in Our Schools Month, encouraging communities across the nation to focus on music and education. Music and education is part of a well-rounded education for every student as outlined in the Every Student Succeeds Act. And the purpose of this celebration and this resolution is to raise awareness of the lasting positive impact of music education on the academic, personal, and professional growth of our students. And music education shapes the way our students understand themselves, the world around them, allowing for a deep engagement with learning. And Music in Our Schools Month reminds us that school is where all children have access to music and music education. Students in communities throughout Ohio demonstrate the importance of quality music education programs to the lives of young people. So now therefore be it resolved, the Kings Local School District does hereby proclaim March as Music in Our Schools Month and encourages our citizens to celebrate and acknowledge every day, but especially in March, that music education is an essential part of every student's well-rounded education. So we wanted to make sure that we granted that resolution while we were celebrating all of you. We wanted to celebrate the folks in our music program and just be mindful of all of the wonderful opportunities we provide for our students, and then all of you who have taken advantage of those opportunities and done so well. So we really appreciate you all. I know you don't want to stay here for all of.
Can I interrupt real quick? Yes. Before you ready to go. This is how it works. We often have to work on the fly.
Right.
Mr. Belton, I appreciate you recognizing our music programs. They do incredible work, and we'll continue to honor and celebrate different accomplishments in that world as well. But if the audience would give us like a few more minutes, and I'll let you know why. Every month during our board meetings, we have students that present and share all the amazing things that are happening at Kings High School. And almost every month, those students are talking to us in a bunch of empty chairs. And so if you could hang with us just for a couple minutes, and you will hear a lot of the amazing things, and they're embarrassed now that I'm calling them out. Yes, you need an audience. Like, this is game day, we're ready to perform. So we would like to move to the next portion, is the raise presentation, if we could. And we'd love our students come on up, and you guys ready to go? Yes, let's do this. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for making everyone stay. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for welcoming us back once again to just share more going on at our school. In case you haven't seen us in the past or you're new, because most of these people are not normally here, I'm Katie Gibson and this is Gabby Cabrera. So let's get started.
And to start off, as always, we have our athletics. Our winter sports just finished up, and our women's basketball team secured district runners up and then ended their season 19-7. And then our indoor track team sent 5 athletes to state, and senior Peyton Butler came home 3rd in the state for throwing.
Our spring sports are now in full swing. So no pun intended with softball, baseball. The softball team has played well in their beginning scrimmages, and they are headed to Florida over spring break next week. And the baseball team is also headed to Florida to start off their season with some tournament games.
And then our men's lacrosse team kicked off their season last Friday, and then they also played yesterday. They won both games, starting their season with a 2-0 record. Our women's lacrosse team started their season just last night. We beat Beaver Creek 16-6, and senior Sammy Drew even hit 100 career goals last night as well.
Yeah.
And then our track team is practicing and preparing for their first meet this Saturday.
And then finishing the athletes section, the winter athletes of the week were senior basketball player Cassie Ingram and senior track and field thrower Peyton Butler. Both of these athletes were nominated by their coaches just for showing excellence in their respective sports.
And then we have our engineering one class who recently finished their pneumatic arm project. We built and designed arms to pick up Gatorade bottles all at different height platforms. That picture on the board is actually my arm and my group in the back controlling it. I just really enjoyed this project. I think I learned a lot about engineering, but also about like working as a team and learning to adapt to problems. So.
Continuing with some academics, the National Honor Society hosted a dine and donate at Buffalo Wings and Rings this past Friday, and they're planning on donate all of those proceeds to Joshua's Place. So it was just a great way to team up with the restaurant so close to the high school and then being able to donate all of that money to an organization that does so much for our community and that we are so grateful for.
And then Kings had 2 students win Rotary Awards for their speeches, Christian Coro Zambrano, and then our third raised rep, Taylor Kleiss. They both had very moving speeches. Taylor placed 5th overall and Christian placed 2nd. We are both so proud of their work and impressed by their talent.
And then the French, German, and Spanish departments all teamed up to participate in JF Burns Multicultural Night on March 7th. They all created activities and brought food from their culture just to showcase what they do in the classroom and let the young knights learn a little bit more about different cultures.
And then, as we kind of talked about before, we had a group of students go to the Business Professionals of America conference, and then Kira McCoy came back 2nd in the state for digital media production and disqualified her for nationals later in May.
And then the race team is working hard to prepare for their upcoming annual KFC, which stands for King's Freshman Camp. This event is intended just to help the current 8th grade students get a preview of the high school. So then when they come in next year as freshmen, they aren't as scared of that big building in the crowded halls. So that is actually my KFC group from last year. We were Smurfs. Every group gets a theme. So I went all out and painted my entire body blue. But we were able to convince all of our 8th graders to paint their faces blue. And it was just a great way to build some spirit for the upcoming school year.
And then we had artists submit their work to the Ohio Governor's Youth Art Exhibition. And of course, Kira McCoy's film was one of 25 pieces to receive the Governor's Award of Excellence. This was out of 8,000 pieces that were submitted. So this is, of course, super impressive.
And then Kings Against Cancer finished up their 7-week fundraiser this past weekend. We helped 16 other schools raise almost $800,000 that all went towards blood cancer. So it was a great 7 weeks, and I can't wait to see where the fundraiser goes in the future.
And then our Spanish club recently started their annual piñata project. At this past meeting, they learned how to make them. Next time, they'll decorate them, and then to end the year in May, they will break them. And yeah.
And then sort of a new club that took place for Hope Squad this year is Sources of Strength. So they hosted a whole week just to help bring awareness to mental health. They had a door decorating contest that had to surround their 8 pillars of mental health. And then they had a rubber duck hunt with signs hanging everywhere with a $20 Chipotle gift card on the line. So, students definitely got involved in that. The school was in a little bit of a frenzy. You had to take a picture with your rubber duck and post it on social media. And then that is Miss King with one of her students. There was a rubber duck in her fish tank. So they were very excited to find that.
And then finally, our spotlights. First up, we have our student spotlight, Jen Crennaugh. She qualified for state and recently placed in the top 10 of Ohio for an event in the HOSA competition. HOSA is a career tech student organization that empowers students who have interests in pursuing careers in health professions. HOSA is an international organization that partners with health science and biomedical science programs, which was recently just added to Mrs. Endress's medical interventions class this year. We are all so proud of Jen and all the hard work that was put into this.
And then our teacher spotlight for this month is Mr. Shields. Mr. Shields is one of the 2 engineering and AP computer science teachers at the high school. He also leads Fellowship of Christian Students, and recently helped develop the new code that will be used for scheduling in the future. A few years ago, Mr. Shields started having his fifth bell students go around to all the teachers' classrooms during their airs time, just collect recycling, so then it would all actually make it out to the recycling bin because some teachers aren't able to make it out there. He contributes to the culture of our school in so many ways. He was the teacher that kind of helped with the haunted house earlier this year that the students built. I've never had Mr. Shields, but I'll pass him in the hallway. He always has a smile on his face. He'll say hi to me. He even knows my name, even though I've never personally had him. So he just definitely makes the culture at King's a positive one. So we're very grateful for him.
And then that is everything we have for you guys. Thanks for having us, and we will be back next month.
Nice job, ladies.
If you'd like, we'll make sure that we have a full room for you next month, Bill. So with that, I will like to I know you all would want to be enthralled with all the things we're going to do next, but you're more than welcome to leave. Thank you for coming. Once again, congratulations to everyone. Congratulations to parents and coaches. We appreciate you all.
Bye, thank you. That was great. I don't want them to leave.
Right, and we'll continue with this evening's agenda. Next up is public participation. The King's Board of Education recognizes the value to school governance of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The board offers public participation to members of the public and applies the procedures to all speakers and does not discriminate based on the identity of the speaker, content of the speech, or viewpoint of the speaker. The board is also committed to conducting its business meetings in a productive and efficient manner. The board provides a period of public participation at every regular meeting of the board and publishes rules to govern such participation in board meetings. The board president is the presiding officer and will administer the rules of the board. Portion of the meeting during which the participation of the public is invited is limited to 30 minutes unless extended by a vote of the board. And first up this evening, Riley Tudor. Did I read that right, Riley? Okay.
Good evening. Our names are Riley Tudor and Katie Gibson, and we are two of many seniors on the Baccalaureate Planning Committee. The class of 2024 has been fortunate to have spent the last 13 years in a district that has made it a priority for us to reach our maximum potential.
We, on behalf of the class of 2024, would like to formally invite you, the board, to our baccalaureate celebration on May 16th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We look forward to celebrating the last 13 years and joining together as we prepare to launch towards our next steps. We would be honored to have you in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
So ladies, you said it's May 16th at 7 p.m. Where is that being held? Okay, thank you. Yep. So same as in previous years.
Wouldn't miss it.
All right, and next is Brandy Schmel Sewell. Oh, I'm sorry, Brandy Sewell. I'm terrible with other people's handwriting. Forgive me.
I don't have good handwriting. Hello, my name is Brandy Sewell. I am a parent to a student at Kings Junior High and a student at Columbia Intermediate. I'm also a graduate of Kings High School, as is both of my parents were graduates of Kings High School. To whom it may concern, the purpose of this letter is to discuss a series of events leading up to my son's removal from Kings Junior High and his need to have home instruction for the remainder of the school year. He has been enrolled in Kings Local School District since kindergarten. He struggles with dyslexia and ADHD, which has hindered his emotional and academic progress since the beginning. In spite of this, he's extremely intelligent, testing as gifted in multiple areas since kindergarten. He was first admitted to Cincinnati Children's Medical Hospital last year for suicidal ideation and self-injurious behavior in February. He was discharged a few days later and subsequently underwent partial hospitalization at the Lindner Center for Hope. He was then adjusted on medication and has been previously prescribed for depression and anxiety in conjunction with ADHD medications. He was also suffering from stress-induced nausea, which was also being treated by medication and a GI specialist at Cincinnati Children's Medical Hospital. By the end of third quarter of 2023, in 7th grade, my son made significant progress and was no longer experiencing GI issues, appeared emotionally regulated and adjusting back to school and interactions with peers well. It was during this time he began a homosexual relationship with another boy at school. Near the end of the school year, in the 7th grade, a student recorded my son kissing his boyfriend in a video that spread it around to his peers via Snapchat. It was only brought to our attention as parents after my son's same age cousin that also attends Kings Junior High School in the 8th grade received a message on Snapchat on his phone midway through summer break. Simon and his boyfriend broke up amicably in the beginning of 8th grade. By then, a student began to assault my son with constant homophobic slurs and continued physical aggressions by means of shoving and body checking. I have since come to understand that this child has a history of violence and disciplinary consequences at the school. By the end of first quarter in 2003, my son's progress socially and emotionally made a dramatic turn for the worse. On 9/7, the school counselor called me to tell me how upset that my son was. He didn't seem to realize he was in the wrong place, and another teacher informed him to go outside. My son was believed to have an altercation with the teacher that didn't go well in the eyes of the counselor. This teacher was berating my son, and he, as a result, developed a poor relationship with that teacher. He has asked for clarifications on instructions working during that class, and the teacher has responded by calling him an idiot and told him the instructions were on the board. He had asked to do a book report on science fiction about speculative biology, and the teacher stated that it didn't qualify as science fiction, but since she doesn't believe in that topic, that she would let him do the book. I don't believe there was a real purpose for the statement. Otherwise, she would say she wouldn't believe, since the book had to be fiction, she wouldn't believe in something that Harry Potter had, or also that Lord of the Rings had in their context too. My son states that he sat right next to this teacher during class, while that said student who has harassed my son was seated across the room and on multiple occasions called my son's homophobic slurs within earshot of the teacher and in front of the whole class in one instance. And he said, "Shut the fuck up, you fucking faggot, before I slap your fucking face." As a result of all of these things, and on at least 2 occasions have been reported to administration, In January, end of January, my son was admitted to Cincinnati Children's Hospital again for suicidal ideation. I have not gotten answers from administration about what really happened to my son during school or what has been happening with this said teacher. This said teacher also did not allow him to make up a test in his class, even though he has articulated to me he had asked 3 times before that, and that resulted him in failing that class. I asked for a safety meeting before my son returned to school because he was admitted to a partial inpatient hospitalization program at Beckett Springs. When I asked for this, the administrators thought that having another child walk with my son during hallways would be helpful. I disagreed with this and thought that these kids needed to be educated on safety procedures and de-escalation techniques and exactly how to respond if they're being approached by a bully. I also, with that in mind, this other child, I wanted to have their parents also give permission for this to happen, considering there were physical assaults on my son. I feel confident in my decision of my son not returning back to the Kings School District for the rest of the year. Since I have not been given a safety plan for my son, that I feel is reasonable or that would help prevent this issue. In addition, I have learned since then that the child that was bullying my son has been suspended for physical violence against another child and fighting. Also, the child that they wanted my son to walk with was also suspended for physical violence. I think this is an egregious act by administration and potentially, in my eyes, I would feel neglectful sending my son back to a situation like that. My son has never once hit another kid or threatened another child. My son, for his 14th birthday, he wanted to take 3 friends to the animal shelter and donate food for his birthday at 14 years old. My son is a loving and caring person. He does not deserve to be treated like this by anyone. He is a member of the LGBTQIA community and has a disability. He is on an IEP.
Mrs. Sewell, I'm going to stop you there because we typically do a 3-minute
Right.
limit. So we kind of let you go
I know.
beyond that. I didn't want to cut you off. We take this very seriously and we really do want to address this with you. So just speaking for the board, I really would ask that you get in touch so we can go through this with you.
Okay, get in touch with the board.
You can send it directly to us, or I would ask that maybe you reach out to our administrative team here, Mr. Sears, Mr.
have.
Spinner, and we can.
I already have, but the bullying issue has not been addressed, nor has the issues with his IEP. We do have an IEP meeting upcoming on the
Okay.
22nd, I believe, but the bullying issues have not been addressed at all, and that concerns me.
Understood, but give us a chance to kind of take a look at it. We'll get a speed on it as well, and I know the team will reach out to you and we'll get this
I
resolved.
I can send each of you an email that I have already sent to a few other people.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
and yeah, we'll work through it. All right. Mhm. Next on the list is Loretta. I'm sorry. Loretta. How do you say your last name, ma'am? Brayton.
Can you guys explain to me the parking, high school parking situation?
Well, ma'am, the public participation is for you to discuss what you want. We don't typically answer questions at this time.
You don't?
So we don't, that's a pretty vague question, your parking situation. Could you be more specific?
Yeah, we have high school kids parking all over town, blocking driveways, blocking. This morning I had a full-size pickup, a full-size drag I live on an alley. My garage is on an alley, and trying to get around a high school kid that was parked should have been illegally. And I understand that you guys charge these kids to park in that parking lot. But the problem is this situation has been going on for decades. It is not a yearly, monthly, daily. It's decades, this parking problem. And I don't understand if you're charging them money, I don't know why you're not adding on to that parking lot. You don't have to put asphalt. You can put crushed limestone. That'll stand up to a car. But we need these kids out of town. I have no problem with kids driving. That's not the issue. The issue, have you guys ever been up? Have you ever been here at 1 o'clock in the daytime? Have you seen what Walnut Street looks like?
Yes.
And Miami Street and Church Street? But I could have called the law on that BMW that was parked there, but I didn't. I barely got out of that alley. So you have a problem that needs addressed. If you don't address it by next school year, what is it, August, September, I will buy every no parking sign I can find, and I will put them in property owners' yards, and you'll have kids missing school or showing up late. And then that's your problem then. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to next on the agenda are on the consent agenda are the approval items for the treasurer. So it looks like we have work session minutes and regular meeting minutes from February, the financial items, the tax rate resolution, the amended appropriations and estimated resources, the municipal advisor, bond writer, and the public records law. Mr. Morrow, did you have anything to add here?
Yeah, there's a few additions from the work session that I wanted to go through with the board. I'd reached out to everybody ahead of the meeting, but want to talk about it in public as well. Number 4, the tax rate resolution. As a reminder from the work session, the county sets property taxation rates annually and asks that the boards of education review and approve. One of the board members requested information about the taxation rates. So we've attempted to clarify and communicate for a while that we don't get inflationary increases in revenues on our voted levies. As property values go up, tax rates go down, so we collect the same amount. So board member requested they wanted to see what that actually looked like. So Mrs. Gould, if you would click the millage rates document that's been added. Yep. You could zoom in a little bit. So this is every voted levy that is currently being collected by Kings. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little plus sign. You're fine. So you have operating levies, which are used for our day-to-day expenses, bond retirement, which are levies for big projects, improvements. And then if you scroll down a little, there's the permanent improvement, which is money that we can use only to upkeep our high dollar or big assets such as buildings. So you can see the column with the numbers on the far left. That's what the levy was passed for when it was originally passed. And then the column just to the right of it, current millage, that's what those levies are actually being collected at. I like to use the 2016 when I look at this as a good example because it's still relatable and fresh. That it was passed at 6.2 mils in 2016, but as King's valuation has risen, it actually is only collecting at 4.61 right now. So that gives a good illustration of how the tax rates go down. So we as a district don't get additional revenues when home values increase. So thank you for asking for that. It's a good exercise, and I think it shows pretty clear
So-
the message that we.
So that's why we need to go back for more money in order to do our operation.
Mhm.
Because if we can only collect a certain amount, that's like not having a raise for 5 years.
It's a great way to put it. So we deal with expenses that rise with inflation, more kids, but our largest revenue source, which is the community, it doesn't increase as everything else increases. I mean, when you're considered wealthy, like Kings is to the state, they don't give us very much in state aid, and they basically push back on us and say, well, you guys got to pay for yourself. So Kings does have to come back periodically and ask for more revenue to keep up with inflation. Number 6, the municipal advisor. So we've worked with, and Bradley Payne has come and presented and talked to the board about their role. They're fiduciary agents for the district. Their sole role, if the issue is successful today, is to advise the district and make sure our community is getting what they voted for at the best rate. So they were integral in the financing plan that has been talked about over and over for the bond issue. They were recommended by the county auditor and also worked with Sycamore, who I spoke to many times throughout the process. And number 7, bond underwriter. This is also pending passage of the bond issue today. And I'll just say both of these items, it's just so we can hit the ground running if it is successful. Nothing presumptuous, just want to make sure we're ready to go. And the bond underwriter actually issues securities on the open market, so the district gets the $142 million to pay for the project. So they work in tandem as well as an attorney on the financing aspect. And then if there's any questions on any of the items, more than happy to entertain those.
I noticed under the public records log, it's all green, so that means you've gotten everything taken care of.
That's correct. We try to be responsive as quickly as possible, and we're able to get all these done. So that's in good shape for right now.
I saw that. Good job.
Thank you. And we've gotten 60 so far since July 1. So we try to keep up with them as they come.
Any further questions for Mr. Morrow?
No.
So may I have a motion to approve the approval items for the treasurer?
I'll make the motion.
Second the motion, Mr. Morrow?
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom,
Yes.
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips.
Yes.
All right, next on the agenda, the consent agenda are the approval items for the superintendent. So the first item here is the field trip for the Kings High School BPA state competition. Do you have anything to add in regard to that, Mr. Sears? Any questions for Mr. Sears regarding that? So may I have a motion to approve item 1 under the superintendent's approval items?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion. All right.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips.
Yes.
Item 3 is with regards to the architect. And we talked about this last week. Anything to add, Mr. Sears?
Yeah, so since last week, I think if you recall last week's meeting, we received RFQs from 2 architects and design firms. Since our last meeting, we conducted interviews with 2 of the firms that submitted RFQs for us. We had a comprehensive team here. We brought them in, and through feedback that in line of questioning and presentations, we're able to kind of rank the two in order. What the resolution in front of you is identifying, it gives us the ability to enter into negotiations with our top ranked firm first, which would be SHP. They came out on top based on, the presentation with the qualifications for the scope of this project. I'll say this after both of the presentations that we went through, these are first-class, high-functioning, incredible architectural firms. We were not going to go wrong with either of these companies that just do incredible work and have done great work in Southwest Ohio. So we're very grateful for the time, effort, and energy both of them put into the presentations for the work here at King's. They're both incredible, and we would have been good either way. We felt like at this point, the recommendation is to move forward with SHP. So what this does, it gives us the ability to begin the negotiation process with them. So you're approving us to begin the discussion on what that looks like moving forward with SHP.
I have a question in the resolution. It says go to number 1, go to number 2, then it says go to number 3. Since we only have 2, what happens if as you're negotiating, it hits a stalemate and then you go to 2 and you hit a stalemate? What do we do?
You open it back
That's
up.
exactly what, yeah. I think you open it back up, you repost it.
Okay, hopefully that won't happen, but I thought I wanted to ask the question.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Certainly all this, I'll just remind it goes similar to what Mr. Mara presented. This is all pending the outcome of today. So.
Any more questions regarding the architect? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve item 3?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Mr. Beltram.
Yes. And then moving to item 5, the owner's representative, Mr. Sears.
Yes, very similar to some of the work that I just presented on the architectural firm. I know we presented at last week's meeting and we've talked about this a little bit, the idea and the concept of an owner's representative. We've received basically proposals from 4 different companies, consultant firms that would serve in our interest to be an owner's rep in the construction project. Just to give you a little bit of a taste, an owner's rep represents us through various phases of the project. They work for King's in the best interest of King's, aligning with the architectural firm, aligning with the CMR, which would be the general contractor. They work on timelines in the negotiation process, ensuring that our best interest is looked at all times. Basically to be on time and on budget is a key piece for us. Experts in the field from a variety of circumstances, and they help us through the pre-construction phase, the construction phase, and the post-occupancy phase. The recommendation this evening is for us to move forward with MCS and Associates. This group we've met with a few times, feel comfortable, feel good that they're going to represent our best interest. And it's important for this work to happen now, as this represents a contract with them that pending the outcome of this evening, that they would immediately begin to work with us in the negotiation process with the architectural firm as well. So this is it's a good opportunity for us to have experts in the field working alongside us to ensure that the project is moving forward in a way that's going to be best in the best interest of King's. So this is actually committing to them pending the outcome of this evening. Anything you would like to add, Mr. Lucky, Mr. Morrow, to that?
Any further questions?
I had a question. The contract says that if this is for an estimated 1,080 hours, if we go over that, what's the fee?
Do you have
None. That was telling us what they estimated that they would actually, the time that they believe it would take, so they had to estimate that, but it's a set per
So
month.
If we exceed that, there'd be no additional.
Mm-mm. It's to get the job done.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I did want to note for those listening that if there's any concern that this firm is located in Chillicothe, that the fee includes all reimbursables, travel and other expenses. So if there's any concern about
Mhm.
an out of area company, that's covered in the contract.
It's a great point. And I'll also just add that their familiarity with the area was one of the things that rose them to the top. They just worked on Franklin High School. They just worked at Indian Hill. Their main person and owner was with the OFCC for a long time, and he was actually on their executive team. So you have some people that are very versed in our area and the complexities of our project.
That kind of leads into my question, looking at that same thing. So you said travel would be a reimbursable cost and expense. Anything else that jumps out?
Those fees are all included within the fee.
Yeah. So it says not to exceed that certain amount. Any chance we can come in less, or is that what we're paying?
That's basically the set rate, but
Okay.
we can sever the contract whenever we want, and they would stop any billings immediately. And that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that if we get done before 4 years, which is obviously the goal, it would stop right then. Or if just for whatever reason we say we don't need this anymore. We've negotiated contracts. We're to a place where we're good. We've got other team members that can handle it, so we can cut it off whenever we please.
Any further questions regarding item 5? All right. Well, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve item 5 under the superintendent's approval items?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom.
Yes. Next on the consent agenda are the approval items for the assistant superintendent regarding HR and business. Looks like we have personnel items, summer and before and after program handbooks, the second reading of the board policies, and the temporary easement. Mr. Spinner, Mr. Lucky, did you have anything to add?
Thank you, President Belfrom, Kings Board of Education. There's just one item I would like to point out that arrived to us in between our work session and our regular session. We did receive the resignation for retirement purposes from Mrs. Julia Kurtz. Mrs. Kurtz began her career here in Kings in 1990 as a media center specialist at Kings High School. And for the past several years, she has served as an ELA teacher at Columbia Intermediate School. I'd like to congratulate her on her 34 years of service in Kings and wish her all the best in her retirement.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Did the volleyball success make her retire? Is that what happened?
Just moving on. All right, with that, I'm sorry, Mr. Lucky, did you have anything to add, sir? Any questions for Mr. Spinner or Mr. Lucky?
I don't have any questions, but I did need to reiterate from our work session that I have to abstain because my niece is one of the resignations. And I will say my niece is a very proud Kings graduate and lacrosse player, and this was a hard decision for her, but the loss of her mother has put an extra burden on
Absolutely.
her, and so she was very sad to have to resign.
With that, may I have a motion to approve the items for the assistant superintendent regarding HR and business?
I'll make that motion.
I will second the motion, Mr. Morrow.
Ms. Cowan,
I will abstain.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips.
Yes.
Next on the agenda, looks like Mrs. Martin, you have Nothing for approval this evening. Uh, Next after that are the items presented by the board. Do we have anything to present this evening?
I don't have anything to present, but I would like to get the name of the woman who spoke about the parking, because I could see that that's probably very frustrating. I
Yeah, absolutely.
would
I'll-
like to reach out to her and
Yep.
have a conversation,
Sure.
because I feel for her. It has been a problem with parking for a very long time.
Yes, it
I hope we can
has.
get that resolved one day.
Yeah, maybe today.
It's 7:05.
Any other items or comments that we have for the board?
Well, speaking of today and wrapping up, I just want to take a moment to thank Mr. Morrow and Mr. Sears for all of their work, their engagement with the community since the beginning. I know you guys have both put in long hours, so and I'm sure the board will stand with me when I say thank you for all of the efforts that you have done, providing factual information when it's been requested, answering questions, answering emails, telephone calls. I know it's not an easy task, so I would just want to say thank you both for your efforts.
Absolutely. Second that.
Appreciate it.
Any further comments? Concerns? All right. Next on the agenda is the legislative update. Mr. Skrull.
Yeah, really not a whole lot to call out this month. I mean, we're on election day, so a lot of the legislators have been very, very busy on the campaign side. But just two items really to call out. So the state Senate, they unanimously voted to concur with the House changes to Senate Bill 17, which requires the state board to update the standards and model curriculum for financial literacy and entrepreneurship for students in grades 9 through 12. So this now heads to Governor DeWine for signature. And then they also unanimously passed Senate Bill 104, which revises the operations of the College Credit Plus program. If you read through there, there's several clauses. I'm not going to go through all of those with you. So if you have time to read through those, that's going to Governor DeWine as well.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Skrull? Next on the agenda is the Student Achievement Liaison update. Mrs. Phillips.
Okay, just the firecrackers are, I'm sorry, Stacy, I brought up this game, but the firecrackers have been performing a lot during March Madness. And so just wanted to give a shout out for the great work that they're doing at halftime and all of the people that, as Mr. Belfram pointed out, stay in the stands and we'll watch our grade school and junior high students perform. And then a shout out that the King's Orchestra or Symphony Band performed at the Ohio Music Education Association and earned superior ratings from all of the judges, which then means that they will go on to the state event. So congratulations to them. And then our senior art show is April the 4th, which if I'm correct, that coincides with the senior reflection night. And so it's a great time to go to the high school and see all of the wonderful things that our seniors have done throughout the year and their career at King's. And this I just thought was so nice that when you look at and have heard all of the things about teaching phonics as a way to help children read, decoding words. The students are encoding words by trying to make a list of words that have the AI sound and have the AY sound in words. And that's just happened to be two students working hard and first graders being able to create and do a higher level skill in the fact of reading and writing. And then March Madness. This is a different twist. At JF Burns, they're doing March Book Madness. So the third grade teachers created and chose several picture books for the students to vote on. And how this works is that every teacher was provided a copy of the book, or they shared and passed them around. And then the students were able to vote for their favorite. And so you can see that they must be getting close to the final four. And so we'll have to watch and see what books come out on top. And a choir concert, when you think about Kings and what we're able to do, the junior high and Columbia had a chorus program together, and then just kind of a little tickler to what will happen in the future. All of the fourth grades will get together later this spring and do a fourth grade concert, but this is one of the ones that's always fun to go hear and see. And then Columbia presented, and Mr. Sears participated in Rhymes and Reads, and it was having a chance to go to the book fair, play ukuleles, do some rhythm on some bucket drums, and then also to see the firecrackers perform. So a fun evening for the students and parents and others at Columbia. And our bowling team, I didn't know if they would be mentioned or not, so I wanted to make sure and throw that in. And the 11th seniors for a great season. So bowling is a great sport, and definitely one that you can take over into adulthood and enjoy. And this was just, how can you not love that smile of a student being a good reader? So great job there. And then the U.S. Department of Education gave a shout out to our preschool. And if you look at that, it's We Love Preschool to Pieces, and the students helped create that. So I thought, how very cute. And then how wonderful that the U.S. Department of Education gave Kings a shout out. And then science class, completing a pet toy design project for a future engineering competition. So can't wait to see what the next steps are with that one. And that was at Kings Junior High. The World Teen Mental Wellness Day. We had a group at the high school, and sources of strength, peer leaders. And so they had activities that the whole school could participate in, just to bring awareness and to make sure that students could, if they haven't used their voice to say they're having difficulty with something, this is just another way to make sure they could step up and do that. And we have Kim Sellers and all of the work that she's done throughout our district to thank, just for making sure that our students' mental health is always at the forefront of our minds. And then Katie Hagan gave the students a prompt, and it's doing art, but then also solving a problem, how to create an interlocking ribbon that connects with 4 different people, but keeps the ribbon continuously interlocking. I'm not sure I could do that. And then to end just once more with the firecrackers. And I thought, if you look at that, look at all of the different expressions on their face. The little boy in front is like, ah, look at me. And then one little girl is like, don't let the rope hit me. And then their arms are interlocked. And I think whoever is the rope spinner in the back is saying, please let it go all of the way around. So, and that was just a split second caught with all of their faces. So thank you.
It's an awesome picture. Thank you, Mrs. Phillips. So next on the agenda is the executive session. And prior to executive session or entering into executive session, I will mention that this is our last agenda item for this evening. So we will adjourn immediately upon the completion of executive session. So tonight we'll enter into executive session for the following purpose: to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. And with that, may I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Morrow?
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Ms. Groff,
Yes.
Ms. Cowan,
Yes.
Mr. Skrull,
Yes.
Mr. Belfrom.
Yes. Good night, everyone.